minutes. I just got done making a video showing my artwork, and I felt so much better after sharing that I took a shower. And the shower is where I do a lot of my healing. I get great ideas in the shower. And so I was shown how to explain what I've learned. Well, kind of. I have, like I stated in the first video, been on a spiritual journey like all of us have. Well, it seems like. And I can't find any videos on what people have learned and what they set out to do. I can find, if you repeat it this way, if you do this way, you're going to manifest whatever, but I don't see that they actually have what they're saying. Like, if you can manifest millions, how come you don't have millions? And how come you can't explain to us what millions mean? But I found the answer to that. Well, for me. And I've been struggling for a week. A solid week trying to upload my story. And Mint Mobile, I'm really mad at Ryan Reynolds. Really mad. Because I'm trying to get the story out. And, you know, I'm hungry and I'm asking, or was asking, for help. And it's taking forever to load. And I talk slow and I tend to ramble. So it's just a challenge to get it out. And I have bad teeth, and it's just this struggle. So I'm going to try yet again in a smaller bite. I have that video going up, which is probably going to take 3 days to load. And if I can make 2 videos out of the 52 minutes I have worth of recording time, maybe I can get something across. So by the end of the week, it should be loaded, which will be close to Thanksgiving. So let me just start. Hi, I'm Karen. I know, it's a thing. And the first thing you'll probably notice about me is my teeth. And they're not from drugs. They're from mental health issues, neglect, and various other things. And it's part of my whole story. If you watch the first video, you'll see some art from some of the things that I experienced as a child. And there's a lot that wasn't on there, just a lifetime of neglect from my parents and not having a mother, and being homeless in my teen years and not being allowed to have an education from the 8th grade as the last grade I graduated. I attended high schools, but I never got far because I was kicked out of my house as a teenager for having a black friend. And I bounced from my real mother in different places, and nobody ever put me in school or took me to the doctor or took me to the dentist or any of those things. And I was unprotected and made to feel like I was broken, like I was a whore, because of the things that had happened to me. And everybody treated me and viewed me like I was garbage. And to say I believed it is to say that I was consciously aware of it, but I can see now through my actions and putting up what I've put up with, and that I did believe it. I believed that. And so when I married young at 18, I've been with my husband since I was 17, 37 years. Well, 38 years if you count the year we were together before we were married. And I always thought I was lucky. because he married me despite my reputation. And I had never done anything to earn my reputation. I was just labeled these things because of things that men had done to me, and from 7 to 8. And I was lured to a home and almost raped by 5 men and killed. I was raped by one of them and escaped. And God guided me out of that house. And that's how I know the voice of God, because he guided me and I knew him. And as a motherless child, being really neglected and starving and abused, I knew the voice of God. And then being a teenager in and out of crack houses, I wasn't doing crack, but the men that were abusing me were trafficking, were moving me in and out of crack houses from 14 on up. And I had a lot of years where I felt like that was my fault. And then I know this is trauma dumping. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to quickly say some of the reasons why my teeth look like this. And I didn't go to the police because then I was raped at gunpoint by well, not really gunpoint, but he had his hand on the gun on the side of the bed and had taken me on a date and bought me all these things and had hidden what he really wanted me to have in all these things that seemed innocent. And that'll be relevant later. So I had all these traumas, and I'm in a relationship, and I'm so young, we're both young, and he's abusive and cheats on me continually, and I just clung to the submissive Christian stay-at-home mom wife for dear life. I clung tighter than Leonardo DiCaprio to that damn door. And I forgave everything. And that was living through a very close family member of his, raping me as well in his mother's home when he was on cruise, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's when you're in the Navy and you go away on a boat, a big ship, for an extended amount of time. Most of the time, in my experience, 6 months. So I was a magnet for sexual assault, and was constantly assaulted in school, constantly touched and groped, but ridiculed and made fun of for my body shape. I was sexualized for how I looked, and I was unprotected. I had a huge butt and nipples that stuck out, and my parents wouldn't allow me to have a bra. And I was like, I was assaulted continually and pursued continually by men, but also put down by men and treated like a whore by women. And like I was threatening them, like I wanted the attention, and I didn't. I was a child. I smoked very, very heavily from 12 on, because that was the only help they gave me is a pack of cigarettes. And I smoked heavily, and that saved me as well as really hurt me throughout my lifetime. It saved me from getting caught up in the crack epidemic of the people who were around me, because I knew even by the time I was kicked out in these crack houses that I had been addicted by 2 or 3 years already, and I knew that I couldn't do that. So I was treated like I was worthless, and I married thinking like that, like I could redeem myself by showing how good I was, and just forgiving everything he had done and he did to me, and just being good to everybody, and nice and kind and forgiving and loving to the people who kicked me out and the people who abused me, you know. And that was my life for a lot of years. There were times in our marriage where I had separated from him and tried to go my own way, and I just never was capable or able to do this. And I was deadly depressed, and my teeth became self-defense. It was a way to camouflage me so that men would no longer pursue me. And I grew fatter and fatter and more reclusive, and was very stunted. I had my daughter, and I didn't do the things that you should do, you know, like go to the park or take her for walks and things like that. It was just, I loved her as much as I could, but I was broken. And I say all this to say that when you're in a long relationship, you build up these lists of things like, when this happens, and when this happens, it'll change, and when this happens, it'll change, and he'll change after we've been together 30 years. He'll change when we've been together this long, you know, it will change. And then God finally told me that I could choose me. And it's longer than that and more in depth than that, but basically that's what happened. And he had always told me that I needed to help my husband, and this was news to me, that I could choose me. And I realized that he was just constant. We just could not communicate. And I would say black and he would say white. And I just was going crazy because I couldn't understand how somebody could just not understand what you're saying. Just the basic things. And anything I said of my opinion was just an instant. He would just attack me, and it was just constant negativity, and to the point where I was losing my hair. I have skin issues, and just like the stress of just dealing with him. And I was living in another room. I couldn't sleep with him. I had PTSD from him throwing me out of bed and accusing me of having people in the room having sex with me while he was in the bed, just terror all the time. And when I started asserting myself and standing up, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I experienced something that changed my life. And all I had was YouTube. And thank God for YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. I have this stuff around my face because I have like this Fred Flintstone shadow, and I tried to put a corrector, and now it looks like I've been eating spaghetti in just my face. So excuse my orange face. I heard a quote by Jim Carrey, and it stuck and stayed in my head because it was by Jim Carrey. And this was before all the spirituality and all this stuff, and this is the first thing that unlocked me helping myself. And I wouldn't be here. I really wouldn't, if it wasn't for Jim Carrey. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. And he said, I'm not going to get it right, but he basically said what depression is your avatar not fucking liking the construct that you've made it. And that struck me so hard. And excuse me. And it stuck. And I mulled it over and I mulled it over, and I thought about that, and I knew that I had been working, my whole life to get over the things that had been done to me. And that had only worked so far. I was still depressed. And I know that finding in the Bible and stuff, that it had helped me and sustained me, but I needed more. And that gave me the key to the door to open it, to figure out, I can't change what others have done to me. I can't change what has already happened. What can I change? And the number one thing that I found was my smoking. It was expensive. I was sick all the time. It was dirty. It was just depressing. And I was smoking 3 packs plus 2 at the time. But I never had a desire to quit until I stayed at a Hilton. And this is going to sound crazy, I know. But we were coming back from an anniversary, and he uncharacteristically wanted to stay somewhere. And because I admired Paris Hilton, because I had always known she was smarter than the average bear, because she never altered her body in a time where everybody was doing, damn, this orange is driving me crazy. Anyways, I admired Paris Hilton, and I wanted to stay at a Hilton. And I slept so well, and waking up, the casino was so smoky. I was just smoked out. And waking up for the first time in, like, honestly, since I was like 12 years old, in a clean environment, in a bed that was just simply elegant, and I slept so well. And I have a back problem, and my back pain was relieved. And I just woke up, and one of my first thoughts is, man, I want to wake up every day in a Hilton, you know. And it gave me the desire to want to quit. And so I formulated a plan on how to do that, and I did it. And I stopped, and it's more complicated than that, but I'm trying to be concise. So I struggled through it, and I quit. And then I realized after 5 or 6 months of not having the nicotine fits abate, they were still kicking my ass. I realized that they weren't nicotine, that it was trauma and issues that my cigarette smoking had suppressed. It was why I didn't want to quit smoking, and why I was smoking so much is I was trying to bury the issues. And I was I was smothering them. And the nicotine fits were my body's way of saying, hurry, cover this up. This is going to be exposed. Cover it up, cover it up. And I had a screaming fit. And I realized, excuse me, Jesus, don't you hate it when you have waterproof mascara on and you get something in your eye and it's like, ugh. I don't know what's in my eye. I realized that I was having a reaction about something purple. And I had to sit down and figure out what that was. And that goes back to the police officer and the things that he had bought me. And he bought me a corset and purple heels, and put his hand on a gun and made me do exactly what he wanted me to do. And I had never dealt with that, because when that happened to me, it was about 1984 or so. I was 16, no, so 84, 85. And there was no such thing as date rape back then. I didn't know that. It wasn't until the mid-90s that I figured out that that wasn't my fault. But I thought that I was, you know, he was a police officer, and obviously I had led him on, and had been stupid. It was my fault, and I deserved what I got. And the screaming fit, the nicotine fit over the purple, revealed that in some other instances with purple. But it showed me where to dig, and I felt so good working that through and being able to talk to myself and work myself through it as a mother and a grandmother, and see it and be proud of myself for getting through that. And the next day I was in the shower, and I had peppermint oil in my head for migraines, and the peppermint oil reignited. The peppermint oil reignited, and I was enveloped with just this loving, Christmassy acceptance, and just so proud of myself that it was almost floored me. It was a life-changing moment. And I realized that the scent, it was tied to the scent. So from then on, well, I made a vow that I was going to have victory showers, and that I was going to recount my successes, just like you do when you need a bill paid and you say, you know, God showed up for me this time, he's going to show up for me again. Like that. Like a bridge of faith, you know, to where I needed to be. And I was just going to talk myself through it every day. And when I had a fit or a reaction to something, I would just trace it and figure it the fuck out and just seal that. Any success, I would seal it. When I made a better choice for myself, when I drank water instead of, the 5th cup of coffee that day, anything that I did for myself, I would seal it with peppermint. And it was just a way to build myself up, and it worked. It worked. And it was hard, and it was very rewarding too, because I was getting to the bottom of a lot of things. But the problem is those nicotine fits stopped. And the major traumas, what I considered the major traumas, kind of abated. And then it became a lot of other things that triggered me. And it's been 4 years, almost 4 years, since I quit smoking. And I've been working on this for 4 years. And it's taken me this long to leave my husband and for him to sell the house. And he's super abusive and financially abusive, so I don't have any money, and he's been restricting my food lately for the last couple months, and really, really bad the last month and a half. And I've found in the hunger, see, I had to deal with quitting smoking and addictions, right? And then I had to deal with finding self-love and loving myself enough. And then this last part, and then I had to deal with letting go. And he's done things like taking all of my stuff, all my Christmas stuff. He's locked up my clothes, my shoes, my everything. And he's packed it all up and put it to places I can't get it. And I've had a problem with hoarding. And so if you've ever watched hoarders, you know that that's triggering. And so I've had to deal with letting everything go. I have 6 dogs that I can't support or take care of. And so I've had to slowly but surely let them go. And letting go of my house, my home. I'm having some kind of reaction. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to keep going. Excuse the booger face. Ugh. So what I'm realizing with the hunger is I had to sit in the hunger and not ask all these people who don't love me or care for me for help. I asked my sister for a pizza, and I told her, she knows I'm diabetic, and I told her I hadn't eaten in a while, and my husband was tripping, and could she send me a pizza? And she had her husband send me a pizza, and he sent me the cheapest, just pepperoni pizza, and I was so upset, and all I kept hearing in my head is beggars can't be choosers, beggars can't be choosers. And I was like, if you would have given it 2 seconds of thought, and plus we don't eat that kind of pizza in our family. We eat pizzas with all the veggies on it, and that's really what I wanted, was the vegetables. And then I felt bad because I didn't state it, and then I was like, you know what, fuck that she didn't even call to see if I was okay. And that was on October 2nd, and it's the middle of November. And then my brain keeps going to, you can call your brother, but I called my brother 6 months ago, and he didn't answer the phone, and he doesn't talk to me. He doesn't care about me. I've asked my father for help twice. He has a 4-bedroom house that's been sitting empty for 2 years, and he won't let me go there. And I asked him again for me and my daughter, and he won't let me go there. And my mother ghosted me, my real mother, a couple years ago. About 3 years ago now. My stepmother, it's and my husband accuses me of sleeping with everybody, my father, my family, his family, and so I can't call his family for help. I'd be tortured, And I could go on and on about the people who I don't have to help me. So I've had to learn to stop going down those pathways in my brain and realize that this hunger is for a reason. And while I have beans and rice to feed me, they are triggering my diabetes and migraines and all this other stuff, but they're sustaining me. So I had to figure it out and sit in my hunger and realize that there was so much abuse in my childhood with food. And I never really even saw that until I was hungry. And there's also the whole deal of being hungry in itself, and what you crave and why you crave it. Basically, I had to resolve my eating disorders, and I didn't even really know I had them. 25 minutes, okay. So it was like the final birth pains before I leave here. And I'm just trying to say that, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I've learned so much, and I can help free people from addiction. And if I can ever get it written down, you know, I did it. And that's what I'm trying to say. I did it. And while it may not look with the teeth and the situation, it may not look like I've won, but I really have. I feel so good inside. I feel so free and so happy. I mean, I'm sad that it's come to this, and I'm sad that I'm in this situation, and he has hurt me and screwed me over in every way that is just like diabolical. It would be easier if he just cussed me out or hit me or whatever, but he's literally sitting here trying to kill me and trying to drive me insane, and at the same time telling me that I have no value. And you know, like, I've been against him from the beginning, and it's so fucking painful. But at the same time, it's not. Because he's the one that fucked up. He had me, and now he doesn't. And I feel bad for him, and I feel great for me. And I have all these ideas, and these movie ideas, and these strange spiritual things that are going on with me, and I have a gift to share, hopefully to stop drug addiction and cigarette addiction and depression and overeating, like all the shit we need. And I've done it myself, well, with God in spirit. Now I just need to figure out how to say it. Now I just need to figure out how to share it. And it's not for sale. It's for the people who don't have the money for it. It's for the people who really need it, you know. And I'll have other stuff for sale because I do need money. But that stuff is just for people like me that have been hurt. Little girls. And I also, in another video, want to talk about the worth of a woman and how society treats us. You know, us fast girls. And about cancel culture. And about how the world treats a Karen. Silences us, and how the world has made my name a curse. As if I didn't have it hard enough. Oh. Okay, it's 28 minutes. Look at my artwork and see if you like it. I could do some crazy stuff. I have this whole story thing. I had to erase that video of music and how it gives me movies. And they're crazy, and they all tie into each other to make a big story. And I don't know how to present it. It's a lot. People aren't really understanding it. Well, the people that I've talked to about it, but that hasn't been very many, so I don't know. I'll try to present it. Thank you. Karen out.